Arizona Cardinals select Haason Reddick.
Can the Arizona Cardinals reunite with former first-round pick of the 2017 NFL Draft? Haason Reddick's name's been floating around the NFL world. The Arizona Cardinals are linked to a potential trade to bring him back to the desert. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we cover news, reports, everything Arizona Cardinals, so definitely subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. All right, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about the latest rumors swirling around the NFL, all surrounding former first-round pick of the Arizona Cardinals, Haason Reddick, and a potential, can he go back and get traded over to the Arizona Cardinals and reunite in the desert? Now, let me go ahead and explain to you here where this, I guess, rumor or report ended up coming from. Now, this is exactly where it came from. Now, this is what the report says. Appearing on SportsCenter on Saturday morning, ESPN Jeremy Fowler reported the expectation around the NFL is Reddick will eventually be traded, with the Arizona Cardinals and Atlanta Falcons cited as potential landing spots. The expectation league-wide is that he is moved at some point. The Eagles went and spent money on Bryce Huff. They re-signed Josh Sweat, so they have their two pass rushers. Reddick appears to be the odd man out. He does want a new deal, but this is a premier guy that would have value. He wants a new contract plus the draft capital that is going to take to get him. Arizona could be a team to watch because of Jonathan Gannon was with him for 2 years ago in Philly. They had a good production together. Arizona needs a pass rusher, Atlanta to extend, so they should be a team in the mix as well. So obviously this is all going based off of speculations and rumors, but let's be honest, a lot of times that when we end up hearing this, these reports coming from these big insiders, when there's smoke, there's usually fire. And obviously Arizona Cardinal fans would love the idea to reunite with Haason Reddick because he was a former first round pick, picked up by the Bruce Arians regime, and he never really had a stable spot to come to in terms of just having a stable position. Now, obviously, in that last year of the Arizona Cardinals, he ended up having a huge production, and the biggest debate was out there is what the Cardinals should do with him, right? Now, unfortunately, we didn't pay him. He ended up moving on to the Panthers, and then he ended up moving on to the Eagles, which he just had production after production. Now we're kind of coming into a full circle where maybe he might be coming back to the Arizona Cardinals for several different reasons, right? With the link of Jonathan Gannon, in the top of that, we do need an edge rusher. Now, as of right now, Haason Reddick is 29 years old. By the start of the 2024 season, he will be 30 years old. So there's going to be something to that play. But if you take a look at his stats, man, this guy has done nothing but produce. This guy's been producing his entirety of his NFL career, with the exception of the first 3 years with the Arizona Cardinals. But like I said earlier, he was picked up in 2017 to the Arizona Cardinals, but they just did not know how to use him. In 2020, we finally used him as an edge rusher. He produced, but the Cardinals just didn't feel like paying him, right? But the following year after that, in 2021, 11 sacks. In 2022, 16 sacks. In 2023, 11 sacks. So it's just been sack season for Haason Reddick since we kind of moved off of him. So very unfortunate that we obviously didn't keep him. Now we're talking about a Haason Reddick that is going to be 30 years old if the Cardinals or any other team decides to trade for him. And on top of that, we are going to be dealing with a player that's looking for an extension, right? So to get more money under his belt. And honestly, with the production that he's been given, his team that he's on, I feel like he definitely does deserve it. But there's a couple different things that kind of worry me a little bit. Obviously, the age and where the Cardinals are at right now with the salary cap. Now, per the salary cap, we do have the money. I think we have about $29.9 million in terms of cap left. Now, we've said this multiple times that the Cardinals, what they want to do is want to save money for the new rookies coming in. And on top of that, we need some sort of, buffer / contingency plan in case something absolutely happens, that we have some money kind of stashed to the side. So the plan isn't to spend all that $29 million, but the thought of adding a premier pass rusher like a Haason Reddick, and being that he has been in the desert before in his first 3 or 4 years, he's been an Arizona Cardinal. I love the storyline in terms of trying to bring him back into Cardinal Red. I absolutely would love the idea of that. Now, a couple different things we want to kind of take a look at here, right, is what he's going to cost if we do trade for him, and what kind of compensation would the Eagles be looking for? Now, right now, they do have their 2 pass rushers. They ended up getting Bryce Huff, which is a guy that I was really high on coming into this free agency pool, but obviously the Cardinals didn't go for him, and on top of that, they are signing Josh Sweat as well. So it's true, he does seem to be the odd man out, but this is a guy that's still producing at a pretty high level. So what is Haason Reddick going to be, I guess, gonna go for, right? Now, if we take a look at the most recent trades that's happened for like either interior defensive linemen or just defensive linemen in general, the players that come to my mind is Montez Sweat as well as Chase Young. Now, Chase Young has not had a good start to his very young NFL career. Honestly, some might say bust, because he was coming into the NFL as a generational talent, but he didn't really kind of work out that way, right? Chase Young ended up getting traded away from the Commanders to the San Francisco 49ers for a compensatory 3rd round pick. So nothing too crazy there, but when we're looking at Montez Sweat, he ended up getting traded away from the Commanders to the Chicago Bears for a 2nd round pick. So is this going to be something where the Cardinals might have to shell out either a 2nd or a 3rd round pick, especially if you're talking about a guy that has produced to the level that we've seen him produce? Maybe, right? Maybe. But a couple things that kind of go to the disadvantage to the guy that's getting him, right? A, he's going to be 30 years old in the 2024 season, which I'm not saying that's going to stop his production, but I'm just saying that's definitely something you got to think about, right? And on top of that, we do also have to pay a Haason Reddick if we do trade for him. Now, something that I would love the Arizona Cardinals to do is right now we have 2 1st round picks, we have a 2nd round pick, and then we got 3 3rd round picks. I think it would be pretty amazing for the Cardinals to potentially move off of those, one of those 3 3rd round picks. I'm not going to let go of a 2nd. I definitely won't be letting go of a 1st if I was Monty Austin-Ford, but we got 3 3rd round pick. So if we could potentially shell out a 3rd round pick and maybe another pick in the later part of the draft, or maybe, kind of dipping into the 2025 NFL draft picks that we have in there as well. Maybe the Cardinals could do something like that. But I would love the idea for the Cardinals to potentially trade for him. So I could see maybe a 3rd round pick, because like I said, look at the stats. It doesn't lie. This guy's been producing after producing after producing. So I would love that production in an Arizona Cardinal uniform. And like I said, the story that comes along with it is absolutely amazing as well. So I would love the idea of that. Like I said, a 3rd round pick is probably what I would go for. Now, I don't know if that is what the Eagles are looking for, if they're looking for a 1st or for a 2nd. Maybe the Cardinals might not touch that, but at the end of the day, we're talking about a guy that's been doing it for years, right? Years on years. So it's up to Monty Austin-Ford in terms of what he values of Haason Reddick if he decides to bring him in. Let's talk about the money. Now, let's talk about the money side. So like I said, if any team decides to bring him in, we are going to have to pay him. Whether it's us or the Atlanta Falcons or any other team out there, we are going to have to pay a Haason Reddick. Right now, the highest paid defensive lineman is Nick Bosa. I believe he's getting about $34 million per year. Then you got Chris Jones, about 31 and change per year. So I don't think he's going to be around that realm. I know Brian Burns just got the bag. He got like $28.2 million per year. So I don't think he's around that area, although the production is there and maybe he might swing for the fences there. But I feel like if the Cardinals can, be comfortable with paying somewhere around 23 to 25, 26, even if you want to kind of, I guess 26 would kind of be my cap, but also kind of think about it here. Contracts are made to be, to fit the cap, right? So if Monty Austin-Ford can really do a really good contract where it doesn't really affect us too much in this first year, but we can go ahead and, kind of spread it out in the next following years that we have, that can be very well beneficial for the Arizona Cardinals. What his deal is right now, I believe he's getting paid somewhere about like $21.8 million in terms of hitting the cap. He's actually technically under contract until 2027, but I believe there's a lot of voided years out. So 2025, 2026, and then 2027 is absolutely voided out. So 2024 is technically his last guaranteed money type of deal, and he's going to have a cap hit of about $21 million or a little under $22 million per the cap. So the Cardinals can definitely do something along the lines where we do that, and then obviously give him an extension for the following years, right? For the 2025, 2026, and then 2027. So also keep in mind it's a little tricky as well, because by the time this contract is over in about 3 years, we're looking at about a 33-year-old pass rusher, which, I mean, if you're still getting the production that we're seeing, and I get it, right? The older you get, the less production you get. You can kind of see a instance where that can hurt the Arizona Cardinals, but it's really going to be a deciding factor if Monty and Jonathan Gannon wants to reunite with his Haason Reddick. Per that report, a lot of things kind of come to the favor for the Arizona Cardinals, and it absolutely does make sense in terms of he's had his, his really, really good moments in terms of him being a defensive lineman with Jonathan Gannon, and that would be super clutch and super cool for the Arizona Cardinals to kind of bring him back in an Arizona Cardinal uniform. Let me know what your guys' thoughts here on if you would like Haason Reddick to be an Arizona Cardinal, or do you think this is attainable for the Arizona Cardinals to potentially go after this premier pass rusher, which is still in his late 20s right now, but will be 30 years old by the start of the 2024 NFL season? Let me know here in the comments below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cards.